What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I am the Grinch. Today's video is a special one. I am here with EXE members, Neva, Harris, and Arc of Bane. They host a weekly gear talk where players can come in, ask questions about their arcs and gear, and they give advice. They have asked me to help bring this information to the general public, and I thought that that would be a great idea. While this is not the first Gear Talk, this is the first one that will be available on my channel for the entire community. If you don't know who EXE is, they are one of the top guilds in the entire game, not just English speaking. These guys are also very knowledgeable and can provide excellent advice. But this is just a warning. With all that being said, I would like to introduce you to these guys. Let's start with Neva. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Neva. Hello everyone. I've been here for an EXE for a while now, a couple of seasons. Been around the game since Server 57, and just like to try to help everybody out. Get some better knowledge of the game. So, on to you, Bane.
Well, I've never had to give an introduction before. So, my name's Bane. Basically, same story as never.
Okay.
Been here a while.
All right. So yeah, our third host Harris is not here right now. If he comes in later, we will definitely get his introduction. But without further ado, we're gonna start Gear Talk. Enjoy.
All right. So, Leo, if you want to carry on with your questions and everything, man, that'd be great. So we can go ahead and talk with you about, some decent gear and everything for your infantry commanders, bro. What do you think?
Cool. Should I introduce myself as well? No, nah, don't worry about it. I'm trying to change from ghillie to a mechanical puppet right now, and I'm looking at the force skill. Because we just got Scorch Earth from the event last week, and I'm reading it. If I have canes on my gear, the first turn they don't trigger plugin skills, and if I dodge, they're still unable to trigger their plugin skills on the second turn because but it has to be hit.
Mm-hmm.
Does it? Stupid. if it's a miss.
Scorched Earth requires you to be hit to block enemies' skills. So if you're not tanky enough, there's 0 point in running it. It's really not a effective skill for most things.
So for infantry, it's either wing or something else.
Yeah. For puppet, it's usually wings or preemptive.
That's right, preemptive. I'll chuck that one. Yep.
With high dodge, preemptive works really well versus the blacks and other such things.
Yeah.
And wings can be a downside if the enemy uses status quo at high enough level and if you don't hit hard enough with wings can end up killing you instead of helping you.
Cool.
But only versus status quo and only if you don't hit hard enough. Puppet usually doesn't have problems hitting hard enough.
Yes. The gems are all on attack. Okay, might change the headpiece gems on tingling. Cool. Yep. Formal hole. Yep. Cool.
So with Puppet, you definitely want to, you want to be more focused in on the, tankier air comms for sure, and the tanky comms definitely, because, you don't like that guaranteed hit that you don't have a gill anymore. So keep that in mind as well.
No, I want to hit Orochi and all the tank comms, and I still have my Billy awakened. That's why if I see a black, standing there, I'll send a healing instead.
Gotcha. So you work on your puppet for like a second com then?
Yes, I should say 3 comms. 2 infantry. Yes, 2 infantry comms
Understandable.
and 1 airship. Reinhardt.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. So with puppet, why do you go with? Just curious, just asking questions here and everything like that. But why are you going with Tangling over your former hot?
My former horse still missing 10 frags of 4th gem slot.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
but
nearly there.
do you necessarily need the former hot on your puppet? I mean, on a puppet though.
The crit's
Dang,
nice.
it is.
Yeah, the crits. If I had to pick a helm for puppet, it'd probably be ruthless for the trigger
And why is
rate.
that? Okay.
Because he already ignores damage reduction. Puppet's problem is almost never damage.
Right.
Like he just doesn't have problems killing things. His problem is landing hits and triggering skills and dodge.
Correct.
It's like his biggest problem is being able to hit the enemy. So accuracy helps a lot there. But if you trigger your skills and you land your hits, damage shouldn't be a problem. If you assuming you have a decent attack base, which if you have full pen, you will have a decent attack base, generally speaking.
Yeah. And it's still, and in some cases, it still gives you a little bit of sweet too, as well. And if you're running into a comp with like any RW, any RW into their build at all, I mean, that does help against the airship comp a little bit, even if you're still running T12, because T12 infantry still have the capability of swing T12 air, correct?
Correct. Yeah, like my Stella can beat high accuracy blacks that I technically can't dodge just because they don't have any RWE. So then I can dodge them.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't realize that Sui doesn't just, reduce your damage that you're taking, it also increases your dodge.
It decreases enemy accuracy, sort of.
True.
It increases your dodge to accuracy balance.
Yep. Should be more dodgy as well. So I do like the Ruthless as a headpiece on Mechanical Puppet for real. Because you already got the Alcade and Soul Cutter, right? So you're already getting the benefits of his skill where he's ignoring DR and he's ignoring the HP. So
Yep. Did Ruthless just came out?
Ruthless been around for a while.
Ruthless is the ideal helm, I would say, but you can easily use a Tan Lang. It's not that big a difference. The trigger rate's the main difference.
Yep.
And technically, Puppet's first skill is tank, so damage reduction is not a bad thing to have. And if you were to get the Nanto pants for accuracy, you could technically run him kind of hybrid and still hit hard and be tanky-ish. Although I wouldn't recommend trying to tank with him. Don't do that.
Yeah, infantry is hard to tank, but yeah, you could. Yeah, I don't think they're. I don't know if you could put the Nantos. I mean, you can put the Nantos on there for that extra accuracy, but then you're sacrificing a lot of dodge, right?
Ooh, my trigger rate
Depends on the enemy.
My trigger rate in CAS is 99.9%. It's fun.
But Nanto are a really good pair of pants. Seen some really impressive builds with Nantos for sure.
Yes, I need to get the materials for it.
I thought you had the melange to get it, dude.
I had the prints.
Nice.
It doesn't.
Very nice.
It doesn't come. Yeah, it gives you prints. Doesn't give you the gear.
You're supposed to have the gear either way, though, sir. You are a hoarder, right? So you're supposed to have the gear either way. I don't want to hear that, sir.
Oh, I don't hold
Yeah.
gear. You can't sell it.
I didn't have the pieces to make it, and then I looked and I realized that I had the pants chests, so I actually did, and now I have them in tow.
Nice.
Nice.
One more
Very nice,
piece to
bro.
upgrade to 40.
What do you plan on putting those on, Bang? If you don't
Stella.
mind me asking.
Yeah.
I knew it. It's great. It's great. It's great on Stella.
Everything I have works on Stella one way or the other.
Very nice, very nice. So with Puppet, we got we recommended Ruthless for a headpiece, but you can also run the Tingling or Formal but don't necessarily need the Formal but if you got it, that's still pretty good. I personally feel like. Like I said, the only thing.
Yeah. If you lower your leads for different marches too, having more damage helps. But like at max lead specifically, you probably don't have to have Formula to kill a tank. Usually, you would have to test yourself to find out how much damage you are missing.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you lower your lead, obviously more damage is going to help.
True.
The difficulty there is the upgrading it because Formulat's 4% base pen. You have to have at least one piece of gear at 50 helmet / weapons to
I
get
have a
full pen with
LK
it.
at 50. So I'll try to see how high I need the soul color to be as well. Soul color's
At
at
all
40.
45 gear, the pen would be 91% at all 45. So if you push 3 pen gems would get you to 100% there. So if one of those was 50 and the other two were 45, you'd be closer. Still have to have at least 1 pen gem. I'm thinking you would want ideally 2 50 pieces and 145 to get it to 100% without weird gems.
Cool. 250 and 145. Oh, not that far away if I eat my 10. Yeah. Cool.
But you can still run the tank. Like I said, you can still run the tank on Puppet if necessary. Just because you don't necessarily have. Yeah, so you don't necessarily have to eat it to put it into your former hot unless you're absolutely just 100% committed to that former hot. Because you want to keep in mind that it does, like Bane said, it does have to be a higher level for sure. So one thing we want to make sure that everybody understands there.
Yes.
With Puppet.
At least 45 above.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Harris. Just got us muted.
All right. Who's next?
Yeah, is there any more questions? I mean, that's what we're here for, guys. Doc, Dar, Dunks.
Hey, sorry I was on mute because I was ordering food. But yeah, I hadn't really seen it talked about yet, but I'm actually really curious about like a little like Rogers with his new weapon coming out in terms of like being able to knock down some of these heavy accuracy like squishy, I guess, built blacks. Like my black is max lead and he's squishy as shit. There's not a lot of HP, there's a decent amount of dodge, and he's just decked out with damage. So I'm wondering if like a 500k Rogers with that shield, specifically an absolute absolute defense, would even be remotely relevant. I don't think the weapons even come out yet, though.
No, we haven't actually, unfortunately, had the chance to test the weapon yet. That's for sure. It is an impressive weapon, and with Rogers, it could possibly bring Rogers back into some play in some aspects for sure. Especially built a certain way. I couldn't answer that question 100% to be honest with you without testing it. But Harris, what are your thoughts on it?
Is your mic?
Go.
Annoying. That's it. It'll just be annoying.
That'd be annoying.
Yep.
Because that Rogers weapon is pretty impressive. Like it's got pin and that attack boost. That attack boost is insane. That's one thing that I would like to see you rein in on. You can have some possibilities with that thing, dude. Like just not thinking about putting it on a Rogers, even though like it doesn't get a special effect, but like throwing that on a King or an Ara.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. And it's still a
Yeah.
little theoretical because the weapon isn't even out yet. But I don't know. I've been brought it up a couple times in chat, and I think I was like the only one online. So I don't know. I was just kind of eyeballing it, like, man, that looks like a pretty solid weapon to throw on somebody.
It has potential. It has potential, and that's for sure. And with that additional final defense and everything like that, it does have the potential to bring Rogers back into a little bit of existence. But like Harris said, it's probably gonna be more annoying than anything. With this game currently the way it is, there are ways around it for sure.
Yeah. And I guess
there are
I've
ways-
always played attack air comm, so 8,000 absolute defense to me, that number, that stat doesn't mean anything. So I don't know if that's a lot of extra final damage as compared to like the absolute defense plug-in. Do they stack, like that kind of thing? So I don't even know, because I've always played attack comms, So for me, I see 8,000. It's like, what is that actually going to do against a fully slotted black for the first, let's say, 2 rounds? Because he's going to lose 1,000 every time he triggers, going back to 0. So like, can 8,000 absolute defense off that shield and then it's 7,000 the second, and then 6, the third trigger. Is that plus an absolute defense plug-in? Is that even a lot of final defense? Like, do you think that's even going to be enough? Because basically, I don't want to open the super equipment boxes to get the damn thing. It's not even going to, like, is 8,000 going to make that big of a difference? You know what I'm saying?
Well, imagine absolute defense plus your max final defense. And then you still aren't reaching that 8,000 number. So yeah, that's a lot more extra final defense adding to your build for sure. A lot more. So I think it's like, well, Bane, what was the calculation we figured out it to be? I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. Dang.
Oh, Bane dropped out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that was my biggest question with that.
Yeah.
To even invest in it, like, to me, since I don't play def comms, yeah, I just needed to understand if AK absolute defense was even worth it. Like, is he still going to get one slotted? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it could possibly. I mean, yeah, you could probably get him one slotted and everything like that. Like, there's definitely going to be some added added benefits to having that shield with the Rogers. Because you got to think also that his second skill when he comes back and starts hitting you, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt like hell. So
that's what I figured.
yeah, and not only that extra final defense is enough. It is a lot. I do think that with that particular final defense, it is going to add some, make some of the infantry comms have to hit more specifically harder than they need to get past it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not sure about blacks. I'm pretty sure that they'll be pretty solid still against them.
I guess my goal with that, I was going to run Origin on it just for the tear space and just throw crap on a ton of HP and DR on them.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get them to survive a couple rounds and then just rip you apart with that tear space. But I'm thinking more of a secondary column, like a 350, like a 500K, like 2 slotting, pretty specifically used, yeah, but still, like, I guess in the right situations being very, very relevant.
Well, here's the problem I have with that. I don't think that it's going to be one of those comms that's going to make it without running like the top end stuff. You know what I'm saying? The top end gear. So we know Rogers. Everyone knows Rogers back in the day. Came out, just started dominating everything with, just terrible. You know what I'm saying? But once this weapon's introduced and everything like that, this is going to require a little bit different, more top end gear, because the old Rogers builds aren't going to work, I don't believe. Because your traditional counters are still going to work with them, like your steam cannons, and all that stuff. So on a traditional Rogers build, I don't believe it would be an intricate piece enough to actually keep you in the game with it. And I don't think it will have its uses. But if you had a more top end build, then I think that it has potential there. In a more meta setting, to be honest with you.
I'll be back a minute.
Sorry, I had to switch to my car speaker, so I missed whatever that was.
All good, brother. All good. But it's a good question, though. I mean, I do feel like that weapon is going to be a nasty addition to our current lineup of selections we have. That additional attack alone is just awesome. Perfect Titan. So with pin. Any more questions?
Can you use that weapon on a sister wolf?
Ooh.
You could, but you could, but the problem is then you don't have any accuracy. So it would depend if you run mind map with power walkers to block anyone from stopping you from using mind map, and you have high enough trigger rate, that attack damage could be huge. But that's literally all it is. So if you don't land your hits, it does nothing. No special effects, no nothing.
So yeah, because you don't get your special effect from it at all, because obviously it's a Rogers exclusive weapon. No accuracy in it, but yeah, that additional attack could be nasty if you set it up correctly. You could have a couple of guaranteed hits in there, plus mind map. That could do some damage.
And we're assuming that they don't change anything, because I for one don't know that they're going to let that come out with 60% attack. That just doesn't sound right to me. But
No.
you know, they might. And if they do, it might be just airship attack because they're jerks like that. You never know.
True. We never know until it's actually released and been able to be tested and everything. Of course. That is a lot of attack to release on something you can fully have full pin on. That is a lot, dude. Like, throw that on a DS. Oh. Could you imagine? Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah, never mind.
Don't even.
I just thought about it and I just died.
We will.
That
We
would be
will not
so rough.
utter it out loud.
No. That one we will not talk about. All right. All right. Any more questions, Dar? That was a good question, Dar. I like that. I do feel like it would have a place, but you would have to make sure you're watching your actions. So maybe you could run like a Formahot, that weapon, Alcade, Antari's chest piece, and Nento pants, possibly. Get some accuracy in there. That way you can get your hits in.
Right on. I see.
Mm-hmm. Or you alternate. Then you could definitely. Yeah, that would probably be a good route you could go with that. Or either you could possibly go with like trigger pants. That way you can get the mind map the trigger more often. Even though mind map does have a 60% trigger rate, outside of cast, which is still a good thing. So I mean, it's not like a terrible trigger rate skill. So you don't necessarily need it, especially if you're running your power of walkers and all that stuff. You're going to be, getting your guaranteed hits in the first round anyway, too. So. I'm throwing in that preemptive shit. What do you think about that, Bane? Something like that would probably work, wouldn't it? Ooh, that'd be really good.
Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of weird builds come out when they finally release this weapon. But like you've always seen weird builds.
Yeah,
It's too early to say.
true. Gotta be able to get it. You gotta be able to test it.
I would recommend that anyone running a commander with no guaranteed hit right now, if they can get the Nanto pants, to get them. Because
Yes.
if for no other reason, there's a lot of commanders that kind of wish they could use Voltar, but Voltars just suck. Nanto's useful side stats. Even if you don't tank, it's still useful to have around.
Mm-hmm.
Granted,
Give you some damage reduction.
if you're
But really,
smaller and you can't afford to upgrade multiple pieces, then probably shouldn't bother. But you're never going to see another. Well, you might, but you're not going to see very many chances to get $1,000 piece of gear for free, practically.
exactly. Especially if you've been stacking your Monge. So if you're stacking that
Like
Monge,
I
just
just
do it.
upgraded my Regulus for a tank set, and I still got Nanto. I'm like, I'm just mad that they didn't come out with it sooner.
Right. So with the Nanto being released and everything like that, we kind of can all agree that Regulus has seen its last days, except for situational
Yeah,
uses.
it depends. Like, you're still gonna have it for things like DS. Like, there's no other way to tank a DS when the DS has first strike. Like, it doesn't. Harris was saying this the other night. It's not for sustained use. It's like anti one slot bust.
Okay.
Because that one first hit, it decreases significantly, but as the fight goes on, that value goes away. So you want something with sustained value for a full march. But if you're specifically trying to counter high damage one slot bust, you're not going to find much better options than Regulus.
Okay. And Regulus have gotten relatively cheap over the time, so it's still a decent piece to have and everything. But would you have? There's just been a question for a minute now and everything like that. With Beetlejuice over not Nanto, Beetlejuice over Regulus, right? So why do people want to choose Beetlejuice over Regulus more often than not?
Crit Wither. It's Crit Wither because in a sustained fight, it's more useful to lower their overall damage repeatedly every time they hit than it is to stop that first hit
Exactly.
in
Okay.
a long, drawn out tank battle. It comes down to essentially how useful the Crit Wither is. Because, like, if you don't need the Crit Wither at all, there's no reason to use Beetlejuice over Regulus. Regulus is just going to be the same exact thing and then block damage, extra damage. If you need the Crit Wither, though, it's significant in a long fight. But then also, Nanto is basically the same thing, but with accuracy instead of resistance weak effect, which is also, generally speaking, more useful
Yes.
for most builds, anyway.
Yes. Because you're not going to see you're going to see some sweep pin marches out there a lot and everything, but you're still going to see the sweep pin and the sweep and stuff like that, but you can just throw a slot of T12 HP in there, and that's gone right out the window. So,
Well, up to a point. Like a
yeah.
high lead sweep pen set will wreck you even if you use your space troops, which is why the meta has always been multiple gear sets and interchangeable pieces, which is, painful to say, but that's the way it is. You can have one main set, but that one main set's going to counter one specific thing, maybe two or three, and you're going to be shit out of luck for everything else.
So I'll turn down to a counter game, right? What you can and what you can't hit at that point.
Right.
So in that case, an ambition still would be useful regardless, then, right?
Oh, ambition's always useful. Like ambition, everyone should have a minimum of one. If you don't have four, just because it's got tier suppression, so that's meh. But highest RWE in class and highest crit wither in class, you just can't beat that for multi-faceted use. You can throw it on a tank, throw it on one slot bust, you can throw it on a sweet set. It is the universal piece. There will never not be a need for ambition.
And that's because it's got some tier suppression. It's because it's got some crit wither. It's because it's got all the best of both worlds and everything. So
It's the only one with enough resistance weaken effect to stand alone and still beat the basic Dink Sweet sets. And it's the only one with significant amount of crit wither on the chest piece. I don't think there is another piece with significant crit wither.
No.
That I can think of.
no, because the only other ones are Shura, and its base is 30. So
Yeah, sure is trash.
exactly.
I have one and I haven't eaten it yet, just because it kind of works well with my phantoms that I also haven't eaten yet for some dumb reason.
Fair enough.
I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that because I was buffing my Antares instead of my Ambition. Just hearing your spill on Ambition right now. Yeah, looks like that would be the much better route to go.
Well, like Antares is great. I love Antares. I still use Antares way more than Ambition, but it really depends on the situation.
Yeah, I just liked it because of the HP and the dodge. Just I guess make a tanky com a little bit tankier. But if you're not running dual auto brands, then I guess that's your third crit wither set. So you can start looking at different awakened options.
Yeah, the Antares is it's like a great middle ground for one slot busts, so that they're not totally defenseless. It's got dodge, which is amazing. It's got HP for tier space, and it's got defense, which is pretty much trash unless you're main black nowadays. But
Yeah,
all things considered, it's it's great versus small enemies who don't have full pen. That just shuts them right down.
yeah.
I'll be right back.
building,
I have to go in the store.
Okay.
I'm building a tanky second set, and Antares was just the only chest that I had. But after hearing his spill, I'll probably recycle that and throw an Ambition on there instead.
Yeah, if you're going more tanky and everything like that, the true tanky stuff that you're going to want to look at, right, is you're going to have some crit wither in there. You're going to have some HP, right? So, Hectabulus is a good choice for a more tanky set as well. If you don't want to do that, Ambition's still a decent set. I mean, I run Ambition on my sister wolf, and she's more of a tank style sister wolf,
Yeah.
It works well. It works well for me. I liked it better of the Antares. I do think the Antares has its uses. I do feel like you could have it on infantry comms if you want, but if you're running like HP troops, like Transcenders. But if you're running like other stuff, I mean, you're going to be looking at Void probably over that. So a good piece for that Antares was a good piece for black for the dodge black setups. The Formaldehyde dual alcade, Antares chest piece, and Fire Spirit pants. That was a good combination for that. But since black is transitioning more into the the 3-piece Raven sets and this, that, and the other, you're going to see a lot less use out of the Antares on the airship side, and pretty much in a lot of areas, especially with more people getting Hectabulus and everything like that due to that trigger rate.
And I'm back.
Nice. Now, as far as Antares as well and everything like that, I mean, like I said, it can work on in certain situational infantry areas and everything like that. I know Bane, you run that, correct? So
Totally, but I mean, Stella. So tier space is huge. Like any infantry that's running tier space troops, Antares is great because it gives you still get dodge, although not as much as Void, but you get a lot more HP, and it's hard to get HP in other chest pieces in a useful way. Because like the pants, there's nowhere to get HP in the pants. There's nowhere to get HP in the weapons if you want to still have damage. So Antares is gives you both. It gives you dodge and HP.
yeah. So you can put it under the high dodge coming on
Void,
your sister wolf too.
like Void gives you defense, which is nothing. So you get extra dodge, but only a little bit. So, like for extended late term use, Antares is just better.
If you're using it on HP troops, though.
Right, but even in general, you could say, because you're never not going to use HP troops at all. That's especially not with the way the meta is right now. You have to have multiple troop types to trigger bar of infantries. You have to have sweep protection. You have to have multiple troop types to get Comet Czar's skill to work. So there's almost always some HP troops in your build, unless you're going all out on damage for select things. Just in general. Also, it's tankier because defense doesn't do HP quite a bit.
Correct. But I do feel like they're like if you're running infantry and everything like a damaged infantry comm and everything, like I do feel like the void is still a better option in most cases and everything, because with the high damage infantry comm, you're going in there to do damage and get out. So you're not trying to last as long as like a Stella with tier space troops are. You're not trying to last that long. You know what I'm
If your
saying?
objective is to counter a specific thing where you have to have more dodge and you don't have multiple pieces you can swap out to make it effective, Void is easier. It's straight up like 20% more dodge, 10% more base, so like 50, 60 at level 50.
Yeah.
So it is more useful for that specifically. It's still a useful piece.
Fair enough.
Overall, it depends on if you actually need that extra dodge.
Yeah. And it all depends on that goes back to who you're facing and everything like that. So if you're facing those high dodge blocks, high accuracy blocks, of course you're going to want more dodge. So,
right. But if you fight a tank and it lands a Scorpio on you, that HP makes a significant difference because tanks can't always one-shot you. Their damage is low.
Fair enough.
And you don't need a lot of dodge usually versus most tanks.
True.
It's a trade-off. You want both. You always want both.
Exactly.
You would have to compare what you're counting as for what you already.
Yeah. So essentially, you'll just want it on like an infantry. You wouldn't want it on tank comm for sure, though. You don't there's better options for tank comms, right?
It's not the worst. It's not the worst. It is not the worst. It's a pretty universal piece. It is probably, you want generally Hectabolus if you can get it, or a Megrez if you can't. But if failing that, I will use com. You still get high HP, high def. The heal troops, the heal that the percentage is based off your dodge, so it can help there.
But there are better options though, like especially if you're trying to like last the rounds, like tanky though, for sure. I feel like you with your ambition, you got more look at the crit where they're there. I feel like that's a better option than Antares. Bro, you are roboting so bad. But I do feel like like he was saying and everything like that. I mean, it's a decent piece, but if you're going tanky, I mean, you get the crit whether from the ambition, or you can go into the Magrez that's got more HP. But Magrez has been phasing out a little bit because of the Hectabolus release. Obviously, that trigger rate and that high rate base HP is a lot better. So,
but a lot of people can't get a Hectabolus. Magrez is comparably easy to get and still solid for any medium smaller players. Plus it
I
has
agree.
resistance, which has a useful factor for select counters that Hectabolus doesn't.
And what kind of counters would those be? Like, we're talking about like a disable Stella,
Like,
or
yeah, disable Stella, Craig. Craig gets wrecked by resistance. Well, I mean, he doesn't get wrecked, but his damage gets wrecked because Blinding Strike is a debuff, essentially. So resistance stops, Craig stops, Stella stops. I don't know. It can help versus Orochi somewhat. Elf. Anyone with the debuff, like Curse, Blinding Strike, Corrosive Armor.
fair enough. Any more questions? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
It's not a cure all because trigger rate can overcome it in a way.
Mm-hmm. But it does help in a sense.
Yeah, it helps a lot versus certain things. You'll notice the difference longer fight.
So would you, in a more tanky situation, would you prefer to have Ambition over Magrez then?
Oh no, me personally, no. In a longer fight, like most enemies aren't gonna run. Like there is no such thing as a long fight. You need Crit Wither. You're fighting Crit Wither counters the high damage comps, so Black, DS, Puppet, etc. In which case, either you have enough Crit Wither or you don't. Versus other tanks and such, it's more of a balance between the bare minimum that you need, because having 600 Crit Wither versus an enemy with no crit does nothing. You might as well stop at 100 or whatever
Fair enough.
their base tech levels would be. So for me,
Okay.
Magrez would be way more useful in general, because like most tank pieces or sets are going to have Aldebarans and maybe Beetlejuice. So you already got 300, 400 Crit Wither without Ambition. Ambition is for when you have to have that extra 200% to stack on top versus the high damage. Like that.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I don't consider Ambition a tank piece. I never have. It specifically only works when you need that extra 200% crit wither. The rest of the time, Ambition is for tier suppression and RWE.
Yes. But in today's meta, with it being airship heavy and everything like that, and them having the largest base amount of crit and everything, it can be useful. So
Yeah, it can be. A lot of people use it on Reinhardt with T2 to help, cut down that surface level damage.
mm-hmm. All right. Any more questions? No? Laura, you got anything?
Not really. I mean, I'm on my arc. It's in BDB. I'm building my Reinhardt up, but I kind of already know what direction I want to go with that. And it's just a matter of getting what I need. So, questions wise, I mean, it's only whether or not Reinhardt can still be very viable in the meta that's currently going right now. Or if I'd be better off switching
No.
over to an Orochi down the road.
No, and no. Like the problem with tanks is the ability to man a tank with tier 2. It's not whether Reinhardt specifically is effective. It's the being able to tank with tier 2. Because a lot of things are starting to counter that hard with low lead, like Stella. Purifying Barrage destroys Reinhardt. It just destroys him. But there is no way to do damage to a high tier enemy with Orochi using tier 2. Reinhardt's the only one who can do that. He gets countered hard, but if he gets a lucky strike in, he's still the only one who can do that. And you're gonna have to have some Reinhardts in there to make people counter it. Because if everyone switches over to Orochi, it's an easy counter. You just throw a me in there, and they all die. Whereas Reinhardt's, I'm not gonna win 99% of the time. I'm gonna win 50% of the time. You have to have a variety in the guild. It's
Yeah, it definitely comes into play as if I'm having a variety of different things in the guild and everything like that. I mean, Reinhardt's going to have its place still, of course, because, like you said, the ability to tank with TC, but there are just some things that are going to run through it. So,
Yeah, my Reinhardt I was working on is kind of like just for here and now until I can get that research up high enough to where I can start running one of those high tier blacks or high tier orochis, full marches kind of thing. Eventually, that's the direction I want to go with that arc.
right.
fair
The
enough.
advantage to Reinhardt is he can be effective with one slot of tier 12 and 5 of tier 2. Whereas like Orochi doesn't really benefit that much from having a slot of tier 12. I mean, he wrecks a lot of things with it, but it's more of a counter to other Orochis and other tier 2 things. High tier, you're just going to get wrecked.
All right, that pretty much covers it for me. Anybody else?
Well, I actually have to go, so I'll see y'all next week.
All right, Bane, be safe, brother. Appreciate you joining, man.
See you later, Bane.
So.
We was gonna have a pimp mark session too, but I guess the player that was gonna have a pimp mark session with today wasn't able to join. I apologize about that. So, does anybody want to do that? If not, then we can just go ahead and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm good with calling it a day.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I appreciate y'all joining Gear Talk this afternoon. We want to try to make sure that we're getting more people involved with it and everything. We are starting to record these and everything. Thank you to Grinch Gaming for that. We appreciate you there, brother, for sure. We do want to get more people involved. That way we can try to help them out as much as possible. And we're also trying to get a general player-based knowledge to other players out there. So we want to make sure that we're covering things for not just large players, but small players, every player there. So get your groups involved, get BB involved, get some people more involved and everything like that. Get gentlemen next week. That way we can have, a more fun pit mark session and more, I guess, elaborate discussion next week. I do want to say that I want people that start to listen to this Gear Chart more often and everything to go subscribe to my boy at Grinch Gaming, please, and support his channel. He's trying to support our community for sure. Other than that, I'm Neva, and y'all have fun and kick some ass.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. A lot of good information in here. There will be another video next week covering next week's gear talk. I would like to thank Neva, Harris, Arc of Bane, and EXE in general for allowing me to record these videos. I hope they help the community. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate a subscribe. Until next week, I'm the Grinch. I'm out.